It's Ramsey Dewey over here in Shanghai, China. Welcome to another edition of Q&A with the Coach. Now, for those of you who are new to the channel wondering how do you submit a question for the next Q&A with the Coach, just leave your question in the comments down below or email me at ramseydewey@gmail.com. But first, big shout out to the channel sponsor, nogibjjgear.com. That's their name, and it's also their website, nogibjjgear.com. They make rash guards, spats, shorts, and other great training gear you can wear at the gym. It's awesome. I use it myself. And don't forget to use my code Ramsey10 for a 10% discount off everything they sell on their website. Now, on to the questions. Our first question comes from our friend John. John is 46 years old. He's done some kickboxing and some Korean martial arts that involve a lot of kicking. And he wants to know how to kick higher. What is the most effective exercise to kick higher? Because he's not particularly flexible, and I get this question from a ton of viewers. He especially wants to get better at the front kick, the side kick, and the round kick to be able to get those kicks up there, head level. How does he develop a higher and smoother kick in the shortest time possible? Because stretching, static stretching, doesn't seem to be cutting it. And that is perfectly understandable, because sitting in a static pose and holding an uncomfortable position is a radically different mechanical process than flinging your leg up high and kicking someone in the head. So, the most effective, the most bang for your buck, the quickest way to develop flexibility for kicking is dynamic stretching. Not static stretching, dynamic stretching. What is dynamic stretching? It's basically kicking. It is moving through the range of motion of a kick. Now, the technique of dynamic stretching is a little bit different. Let me show you some of these things. The axe kick stretch, where the leg goes straight up and straight down. A little bit different than a technical axe kick you would use in a fight or a sparring match. An arc kick stretch, or a crescent kick stretch. This is a straight leg stretch. Again, different than a chambered crescent kick that you would use in a fight. What else? We've got a side kick stretch where we swing the leg up and down as opposed to chamber and then punch that leg out there. We also have a back kick stretch where we swing the leg up and down. So these dynamic stretches are basically swings. But that's not all. You can also use knees as dynamic stretches for your hips, knee extensions. Very similar to the knees that you would use in Muay Thai, extending the knee outward, thrusting your hip forward. You can also do this with the front kick. Now, after you go through these dynamic stretches, practice each kick that you want to improve. Practice it 10, 20, 30 times a day. You don't have to spend an inordinate amount of time stretching to get flexible enough to throw high kicks. What you need to do is consistently move your limbs through the range of motion that you want to use on a daily basis. Additionally, as far as the round kick goes, what tends to trip people up as far as flexibility goes is the articulation of the hips. And it's not actually flexibility. It's just what the hips are doing and what the standing leg is doing. Be familiar with the terms turn out and turn in. Ballet dancers are very familiar with these terms. Ballet is done with turned out hips, turned out feet, turned out knees. Whereas kicking, generally speaking, one leg is turned in and one leg is turned out. Often the standing leg is turned out and the kicking leg is turned in. So you have to be able to articulate your hips like that. Here is a dynamic stretching exercise that can help you gain flexibility and also the correct technique and coordination to throw round kicks. Get a boxing ring, put your leg up on the ropes or something equivalent where you can put your ankle up there without tearing it to shreds, and rotate. Keep your focus toward your foot. Don't turn your head away from your foot, the one that's up on the ropes. And repeat this 10, 20, 30 times each leg. Do that every day. Now, this might sound like a lot, but if you do dynamic stretches, say 10 times for each of the major kicks every day, what is that? That's a couple of minutes of work. A couple of minutes of work. And as a result, within a few months, your kicks will increase in height. Your legs will become much more limber, and your kicking ability will get better. Now, does static stretching work? Does it help? It doesn't make you worse, unless you do way too much of it. So generally speaking, do the static stretching after the training. Occasionally, there are a few static stretches I will do before, such as a butterfly sit. Sometimes I'll do a straddle sit. But generally speaking, I'll keep the static stretching for afterward. But there's more. There are actually several other methods of stretching. There is reciprocal stretching, where you have a partner help you. Now, as far as kicks go, here's a simple exercise you can do. You can do this standing up against a wall or lying down on the floor. But keep your legs straight, lie down on the floor, have a partner push one leg up toward your head, up until you start to feel the tension in the leg, until your body starts to involuntarily contract those muscles, saying, hey, that's too far, buddy. No more. Let's not go anymore. Not to an extreme, just enough where the body starts resisting it. Okay, then your partner's going to keep pushing with gentle but firm pressure, and you are going to push against their pressure. Right? So they're pushing this way, you're pushing that way, and you're trying to return your leg to the floor as they're trying to push it further. So what ends up happening is there's this stalemate, there's this pressure, your leg is tiring out, their hands are pushing you up there, and then you do that for about 10 seconds. Your partner's going to say relax, and then you relax, then you're going to go a little bit farther. Involuntarily, your muscles will relax because they got tired out. It's a reciprocal stretch. And then you do it again. You push for about 10 seconds as your partner pushes back, and then you release, and then you go a little bit farther. You go several inches farther. You repeat this about 3 times. Once you reach the top, you hold it for about 10 seconds, and then you do it on the other leg. Do this on the floor. Also do it standing up against the wall. It's a great way to increase the mobility and the flexibility for your high kicks. Now, out of all the dynamic stretches, probably the single most important one is the axe kick stretch. Even if you never ever use an axe kick in a fight, most people don't. Most people don't use an axe kick in a fight for a lot of reasons. 1, they're not trained to do it. 2, they lack the flexibility and athleticism to do it. And 3, there are not a ton of opportunities to land that perfect axe kick in most fights. It's one of those once-in-a-while things, not one of those all-the-time type of kicks. But the flexibility that you gain from an axe kick stretch, flinging that leg up straight, up to the ceiling, and then pulling it back down, stretches out your posterior chain. Most of the major muscle groups in the posterior chain, your leg, your hamstrings, your lower back, your mid-back, your glutes, your hip flexors, all of this stuff that ordinarily prevents your leg from getting up high. So do lots of those. All right, my friend. Oh yeah, one other form of stretching. And you've probably seen this one, but not necessarily recognized it as stretching, and that is myofascial self-release stretching. For example, using a foam roller, or using some type of device to put pressure on a sore spot, rolling it out, rubbing it out. Massage is myofascial release stretching. Self-release is where you do it yourself. Massage is where somebody else does it for you. So, for example, if you have pain in your lower back and you don't know how to stretch that out, or you don't think you really need to, it's generally because you need to stretch out your glutes. So one way to do that, get a ball, a stiff, firm ball, sit on it, roll it around on your butt until you find the spots that are sore, and often that can help to release tension, which is causing pain in the lower back. So stretching is super important, not just for high kicks, although that is a really great benefit. It's a great bonus. But generally speaking, the more flexible you are, the healthier you're going to be. Especially when it comes to your back and your hip flexors. So, get to stretching, my friends. If you have any other questions, please leave them in the comments down below or email me at ramseydewey@gmail.com. Once again, thanks to the channel sponsor, NoGiBJJGear.com. Go check them out. Use my code Ramsey10 for 10% off everything. Thank you for watching. Now get out there and train.